everybody, welcome back to the WorkPlay USA podcast. We've got a really special episode today. We're chatting with Josh, the director of WorkPlay USA. We're going to be talking all things summer camp, his experience, what started WorkPlay USA. Start with our first question. Courtney, what's our first question?
Yeah, so the first question today, Josh, is just about how did you end up going to summer camp for the first time, and just tell us a little bit about your journey at summer camp.
Okay. I think I started the same as most people, really. I'd just finished university. I just graduated. I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life from there. And I'd always wanted to travel. And America was always like the top of my list. And I was a sports coach. I was a football coach. So I really wanted to find a way that I could go and like coach in a different country. Found out about summer camps just searching online, like most people do. And I thought, why not? Just give it a go. So I did. I just signed up with the first company that I came across, went to a job fair and got hired by the first camp that I got in line with. And by that point, I'd made the commitment, like I was in. So I just followed through and I did it and I got to camp. This is in 2013, which is like 13 years ago, which is ridiculous. Um, but yeah, I just took that leap and I just did it, and I'm so glad I did because it was the best thing. It was the best thing I ever did, to be honest. Like I straight away I just fell in love with like the whole summer camp environment, the camp culture, the job of being a counselor. I loved I love coaching my sport in another country, but then I also love like the camp counselor side of things as well. And I just kind of found the environment that I didn't know existed that I needed pretty much, and I just totally got hooked on it from that point. So I had the best summer possible, and just kind of yeah, as I said, just totally got hooked on camp as a concept. Obviously met a lot of great people, met some great people that first summer, and then at the end of the first summer with I think there was like 7 people. We flew over to the West Coast to San Francisco, and we had like a large SUV and piled in it and spent like the full 30 days pretty much just traveling the West Coast. So like San Francisco and San Diego and Los Angeles, Yosemite, Grand Canyon, Vegas, Arizona. And that was like my first travel experience. And at that point I was in. Like it was literally the best experience of my life to that point. And I was hooked. That was it. I was totally drawn in. So I was like, okay, now I need to figure out ways that I can come back to camp every summer. And I did pretty much. So came back to camp for a second year and then a third year, and then I actually got pretty fortunate. So after my third year of camp, the camp that I work at, which is called Chippewa and Silver Lake in upstate New York, they were looking for somebody to join their full-time team. So their office is based in Florida. So I just applied. I was like, I've got nothing to lose. So I applied for a job with them like full time. And thankfully for me, I got it. So I moved out, I moved from Scotland out to Florida. And then I worked for the camp full time for 2 years on well, 2 years, it was 18 months on a J1 18-month visa. And when I worked for camp full time, obviously I was still going back to camp during the summers. And I also kind of learned a lot about like what it takes for camps to operate in the background. So like I learned a lot about like planning for the summer and a lot about like the logistics of camp and the 10 months worth of planning that goes into the 2 months worth of camp. And then I guess what really set me up pretty nicely was that I learned a lot about international staff hiring. So the camp I work at, they hire 400 staff every year, so it's pretty big, and most of them are internationals. So yeah, I kind of learned a lot about from the camp's perspective as to what camps are looking for when they're hiring internationals. And that was like my first look into like the whole summer camp staff recruitment side of things. That was from the camp's perspective, not so much um, from the agency perspective. And then yeah, when I was living in Florida, I was just living my best life. I was like 25 at the time, and it was just the best time. I was living with my mates in Florida, going to the beach every weekend, working for camp, and then going back to camp during the summers. So by that point, I was up to summer 5 and 6, I think it was. No, 4 and 5, sorry. Um, and then my visa expired, unfortunately, and I had to go back to Scotland. I couldn't stay in the US. And that's when I started working with a summer camp agency. So I worked with an agency. I was there for, I want to say like 4 years almost. And I was the placement director there. So my job there was to basically like build relationships with other camps and like help applicants that had applied to the agency get placed at camps. And that was like my first look into what it takes to to get internationals to camp from the agency perspective. Still going back to camp during the summers. I then this is a long-winded story. I'm talking too much. And then I moved up. I got offered a promotion at camp to campus director. So I was,
Yeah.
and I'm still doing that job now. So basically, I oversee like all of the boys' campus. And in 2021, my girlfriend at the time, now wife, said to me, "Why don't you set up your own company, set up your own agency?" I had to think about it, and I was like, "It'll never work. There's no chance." But I was just like really really passionate about the summer camp program and what it gives to internationals, and I kind of felt like I had something to give in the agency space that might be a little bit different. Um, so I did, and that was WorkPlay USA was born in 2021. Had our first summer in 2022, and then here we are in 2026 with you two talking about it on a podcast, which is really
Amazing. Yeah,
Amazing.
that was kind of like the next question, like what inspired you to create WorkPlayUSA? But I suppose like with your story and your background, you've kind of went into that a lot, so it's
yeah. I
amazing.
think
Um,
the inspiration honestly was what I genuinely believe that going to a summer camp, whether it's for one summer or 10,
Mm,
going to a summer camp can have a massive benefit to an international person's life in a number
definitely.
of different ways, like the people that you meet, the friendships you make, the cultural exchange aspect of it, the confidence you build, the independence you build, and I obviously camp is amazing for kids. Of course, that's why we all go. But I fully see that camp is like an amazing opportunity for 18 to 25-year-olds on average, can be older, but for those that sort of age range of people to go. And I thought that when I went to camp for the first time with an agency, uh, I kind of felt I kind of got like generic emails sent through, and I was kind of just I didn't really know who I was ever talking to, and I almost felt like I had to like figure out the
Mm,
whole process myself just
yeah,
based on like words in an email pretty much. Um, so when I set up Workplay USA, I was like, well, I want anybody that joins us to 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 have a relationship with the company where they feel comfortable asking us questions and they feel like they're being genuinely cared for and they like we have their best interests at heart, and I want them to be able to um like feel supported. That's the main thing. So when I set up Workplay USA, the inspiration was let's promote the camp program, let's get as many people into it as we can, but let's make sure that they know what they're signing up for and they feel guided and supported throughout the whole process. And that's why it was born, pretty much.
yeah. I think that's great. I mean, definitely like camp can completely change the trajectory of your life. I feel you can go for one summer or it can really just sort of change everything, which I think is so amazing. And I suppose probably your first summer, did you envision that you'd be going to camp like for 13 summers?
No, but I also thought I need to do whatever I can to keep coming back here every summer because I
Mm.
didn't want to. I don't know. I guess I didn't want to work in the real world. I just wanted to play camp all the time, which might have been irresponsible at the time, but it was just what I thought I wanted to do, and thankfully
Yeah.
I've been able to make it happen.
I think we can definitely understand that feeling. And I wish we could sort of, whenever I'm chatting to applicants, I wish we could bottle up that feeling of what camp is like and that feeling when you have to leave camp and know, like, am I going to be back next summer? How can I make it work? This is sort of the feeling that keeps us coming back. And it's hard to describe it to someone over a video call and explain what it is, but it is sort of that thing that does keep us back every single summer.
Yeah, so the next question, I think we've kind of touched on this also, but like there's so many different agencies out there offering different things, but really like I just want to ask you, what do you think like makes us stand out? Like what do you do to make sure like or all of us as a team, the applicants are kind of supported throughout the whole process and that they just don't really feel like a number, like they are genuinely cared for and supported for like the whole way through the placement when they're at camp and then also after camp too.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, pretty much. I mean, there are a bunch of agencies out there, and most of them, well, maybe not most, but a lot of them have bigger reputations than we do because we're relatively new. Like this is our 5th year of operation, so there are definitely bigger agencies out there that have more of a reputation. So why should an applicant choose us? Well, I I like to think that we do things a little bit differently in the sense that every single person that submits an application with us, that follows through and attends an interview with us, then gets assigned that person as their account manager the whole time. So we all know that if somebody applies on our website, we read the application and then it gets assigned to one of us or Karis or whoever, we reach out to that person, we speak to that person, and then we build a relationship with that applicant that lasts from now up until the point where they get back to their home country at the end of the summer. And that's really, really important to me. I think what people might not realize with other big companies is that you're not going to have that relationship with whoever it is at the agency that's helping you out. Like other bigger agencies they're so big that they might have different departments. They might have a visa department, a placement department, whatever it is. But with us, we have all those departments, but the method of communication is through one person.
Mm.
So like the applicant knows that if they have a question about anything, they can reach out to us and we know who they are, we know their situation, we know what camp they're going to, we know where they're at in the visa process. We know everything because we build relationships with all of our applicants. And I think that's super important because it is a big deal to sign up to spend your summer in a different country and to sign up and apply for a visa to go to a different country if you've never done it before. And I just really feel like people need that support. Like they need to know that they've got somebody that's got their back, and they need to know that somebody who's done it before, which we all have, and we're all passionate about it, and we all know what we're talking about. The applicants need to know that we can literally guide them through every single step of the process. So I think what's also different to us, which might be a negative for us sometimes, but it's definitely a positive for applicants, is that people message us
Yeah.
at all hours of the day and on weekends, and we reply. Like we're
Mm.
I know it's maybe not in your guys' job description, but I'm sure you just do it naturally where if your phone goes off on a Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon, then an applicant's got a question, you're replying on a Saturday afternoon. And that's the
Mm.
kind of thing that you're not getting anywhere else. And that's just because we are a small company, we are more personal, and we all care about the program and the applicants themselves. So that is what makes us stand out, honestly, is the fact that that one-to-one service is super important. And then also you've got other aspects like we might be a little bit cheaper than some other agencies because we are a smaller company. Um, we work with a smaller network of camps because I know all of the camps that we work with. So I'm confident that anybody that goes to one of our camps is going to have a great summer because I know all of the camps personally. And it's just little things like that. So I think it can be a much more smooth and also a much more pleasant experience going to a summer camp using a smaller company, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Definitely. I
definitely
agree.
agree. Yeah, when I was at summer camp, like myself, when I was an applicant, if I ever had any questions and I messaged yourself, like you always got back like that day. Whereas I had other friends who maybe had issues, went with other agencies, and they'd be like, oh my goodness, like haven't got a reply for like 3 or 4 days, and they didn't feel supported or like have anyone to go to. So definitely agree that it's really good to have that support also when you're at camp too. So
And I
Yeah.
want that to continue. Like if WorkPlay USA does grow into a really, really big company, which it might or it might not, but I want that to like be consistent. So the
yeah,
bigger the applicant pool that we get, the more staff that we have to hire in our office so that one-to-one service remains intact.
Yeah.
So if we have 10,000 applicants going to camp, then we're going to need a lot of staff to be able to speak to 10,000 people every day, pretty much.
yeah,
Definitely. I
agree.
think it's so helpful, like you said, that we've all been through it. We've all had that first interview with an agency. We've all had an interview with a camp. Like we've had those nerves and stuff like that. So I think it's helpful. And also being on this side of things now, sort of working for WorkPlay USA, it genuinely is the most exciting thing when you interview with someone and then they join the program and then they get placed by a camp. And like I always feel so excited for every single person that does end up getting placed. I'm sure you guys feel the same, and we've all been there. We want to help sort of every single step of the way. But in terms of sort of like finding camps and I suppose from an agency point of view finding camps, but also what advice would you give to applicants that sign up with us and are waiting for camps and have their interview with the camp? What would you say from your point of view, working at a camp, working full time for a camp, and now helping people get placed at a camp? What advice would you give people that are about to have their interview or looking for camps out there in the States?
Well, firstly, I would say be completely open-minded about any camp out there that is interested in talking to you. I think we all know that there are certain camps that have a really good profile on social media, especially, and you might brand them like TikTok popular camps, and that's great because these are all great camps.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of skews people's minds a little bit where they think, oh, I'm going to sign up and go to camp, and I'm going to go to that camp. And that's all well and good, and that's possible. But what people need to remember is that these camps that are big and popular on TikTok, especially, one, they get hundreds, maybe even thousands of applications from people because of that exact reason. And two, you need to have something to offer the camp. Like the camp has to want to hire you as
Mhm.
well. So it's not, unfortunately, it's not a case of saying, I'm signing up and I want to go to that camp. It's a case of what can you offer to that camp. So first thing is, please don't like base an opinion on a camp on how popular they are on social media. Like there are tons of camps out there that we work with that are all just equally as amazing as the camps that you do see on TikTok, but maybe just don't have that profile. Um, so be open-minded, like speak to any single camp that shows interest. Like we get people all the time that get put on review by a camp and they go on the website and they're like, I don't know if it's a good fit for me. And all of us will always say, speak to the camp, talk to the camp, because you can't base an opinion on a camp off a website or their social media or whatever. You have to base it off like legit information that you get from the camp director's mouth. So speak to any camp that shows interest in your application is worth a conversation. And then
Mhm.
after you've spoken to a camp, if it's still not the right fit for you, fair enough. No problem at all. We'll move on and we'll find another camp. So that's the first thing, is just being open-minded about any camp that shows interest in you and is keen. And then when it comes to like the actual interview, just relax. Like relax, smile. As
Yeah.
much as it's a job interview, obviously, it's not like a corporate job interview where you have to sit in a suit and tie and like you're being scrutinized. It's a pretty, I would like to think, like a pretty laid back conversation where the camps just want to learn a little bit more about you and your skills and experiences, and they want to give you information about the camp as well. So just yeah, relax, smile. That's important. Um, and yeah, just be yourself pretty much
Yeah.
because that's what you're gonna have to be when you're at camp. So yeah, just relax. I think that's the main thing.
Amazing. Great advice. And also you sort of mentioned that you got hired through an agency fair, and obviously we as an agency we do online hiring fairs. What do you think? Or do you recommend agency fairs to applicants to join? Do you think they should wait to be put on review by a camp? What's your opinion on our online hiring fairs, and what advice would you give?
I mean, they're great, aren't they? Because we've done so many of them now that we clearly see that when people join a hiring fair, their chances of getting hired like shoot up really quickly, and it's just because um like it's a short period of time. Like you get what 15 minutes with a camp, but you could
Yeah.
be speaking at like 5 or 6 camps in one day or more. And it's just it's a great way to put yourself out there to multiple camps, show camps who you are personality wise, and it might also be a nice way to like have multiple offers on the table that you kind of get to pick and choose
Yeah.
from. So yeah, I mean the traditional way of like going on our website or us like sending people out to camps and things like that, that's how the majority of placements happen. But the job fairs are great because it really gives applicants an opportunity to speak to multiple camps, but then also it's great for camps because they get to speak to multiple people in a pretty short space of time too. So, and it's all from the comfort of your own home. Like you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You can do it in front of a computer, which is nice.
Yeah. And you get to talk to us three, so what's not to
All the rest.
want? Um, so just going back to like summer camps and finding that placement for the summer. I mean, we've all gone to fantastic camps that Workplay USA work with, but I'd love to know, like, how do you make these connections with camps? How do you find the camps to partner with? What do you look for when you're trying to partner with a camp?
Um, uh, all of the camps that we work with, we have a relationship with, and I think that's really important. Like we have a much smaller network of camps that maybe other agencies do, but that's positive because I genuinely feel confident that any camp that any of our applicants are going to are they're going to have a great summer there. So that kind of comes through years of building relationships, pretty much. Like I've been working with some of these camps for nearly 10 years now, And I trust them, right? I've seen hundreds of people go there and have great experiences. So I have good relationships with a bunch of camps that they trust us and they trust our judgment on the applicants that we're sending them. But then also we trust them that, as I said, they're going to look after our applicants and make sure that they have a great summer. So it's kind of built on years of relationship building, and it's also important to have a variety of different types of camps, right? So we've got the privately owned traditional camps, we've got the day camps, we've got camps for children with special needs, we've got camps for underprivileged children. So it's important that there's a camp fit for everybody as well. So yeah, I think basically when anytime a new camp approaches us because they want to try and hire international staff, first thing I do is I get on a call with the camp and find out more about them and their program and what they're looking for and just sort of, I guess, vet the camp a little bit. Like, do we want to send applicants to this camp? And most of the time, all camps have the same mission where they want to give their kids a great experience and they need really, really good international staff to help with that. And we we can help with by giving them great applicants. So yeah, all just building relationships with camps and just making sure that anyone that goes to their camp is going to be looked after, is going to be safe, and is going to have a great time. As I said before, like the ones that are popular on TikTok and whatever, all the big name camps that most people have heard of. Obviously, we work with all them. We have relationships with all those camps, so that's important. But we also have relationships with camps that, as I said, maybe don't have that big profile, but are just equally as amazing as well.
I think we're going to round this off in a second, but first of all, I just want to ask you one last question. Obviously, one of the best parts about doing the summer camp program is the fact that you do get to travel and experience the US. So I'd love to know, is there a few places that might stand out to you based on your travel after camp, or anywhere you recommend people add into their list of places to travel after camp this summer?
Good question. I've been pretty lucky. I've traveled to quite a lot of places after camps, so I've seen a lot of America that I wanted to see. Love California. San Francisco is really, really cool. San Diego is beautiful. Yosemite National Park. I'm not the most outdoorsy guy in the world, but Yosemite National Park was like mind-blowingly beautiful. Grand Canyon's really, really cool. Vegas, less said about Vegas the better, but you can definitely have fun in Vegas. Boston is beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, I love music, so I've been to Nashville, and Nashville is great. Like Nashville is really, really cool if you like live music. And then not too far from Nashville, I think one of my highlights in America ever was going to Graceland, Elvis Presley's house. I'm a big Elvis fan. Is that Elvis in the background of your um, wall, by the way?
Me?
Yeah, is that not Elvis behind you?
That's
No,
our
that's
singer.
Michael Jackson, and that's
Oh,
Harry Styles.
Harry
What?
Styles.
I thought
He's
that would, yeah.
Harry Styles is my man. That's him there.
Oh, that's we did one year after camp, about 25 people went to Costa Rica for 3 weeks. So yeah, we basically like took over this hostel and we were there for a few days and then we spent like 3 weeks traveling Costa Rica in like a big group of 25 camp people, which was so much fun. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, New York's fantastic. We all know that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's so much to see and do in America that you barely scratch the surface, but there's somewhere to go for everyone. And I also like the fact that I didn't have any plans before I went to camp. Like I just, with the people that I met at camp, whatever summer it was, we just kind of like formulated a plan and just winged it for the travel aspect, which I
Yeah.
thought was really cool. I know some people can't operate that way and they kind of need to have plans in place, which is fair, but I kind of like the spontaneity of where we're going to go and what we're going to do. So if you can do that, that's the best way to do it. And wherever you go, if you're with the right people, you're going to have fun. So sure, the process of traveling and being in a new country by yourself is a little bit scary, but when you get to camp, you're surrounded by people that are in the same boat as you. You're surrounded by people that are also there for the first time traveling by themselves. And no matter what you see in the news or whatever, summer camp is a very, very safe place to be. So try and if you can overcome that initial worry and get yourself to camp, you're going to find that everything else in the outside world doesn't exist when you're at camp, because camp is such a bubble that we
Yeah.
like we all know that you're just kind of living in your own little universe when you're at camp, and the only people that exist in your universe are the people that you work with at camp, and you talk to your people back at home, of course, but like when you're in your camp bubble, nothing else matters. And
Okay. Okay, so thank you for joining us today, Josh, and telling us all about your camp experience and a little bit more about WorkPlay USA. I hope everyone's enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you all again soon. See you later.
Bye.